Welcome back to Power On Weekly, hosted by your boy, Irving Legend, and your girl,
Allie.
it's Dally again.
Just Allie.
And joining us once again is our good friend, Steve Granado. Steve, welcome back to the show.
Allie. Oh, that's not the
Allie.
thing.
Allie.
What's up? We're back. We're doing it again. 3 times charm? 3rd time's a charm? Something like that.
Yeah, something. Yeah, thanks for joining us once again, Steve. Now, we've got to get it out of the way, obviously. Sorry about missing last week's episode. We
wanted a weekend off.
We did want a weekend off. We were really busy, and a lot of personal things are going on, and we just needed to take a break.
Yeah.
So we appreciate your guys' patience. We really appreciate it. I think it's
occasionally we'll take a break.
Yeah, and it's a bit of an understatement about how this year has gone, but we really needed a break. So we appreciate your patience. We appreciate your patience too, Steve, because I know you watch the show.
Oh, gosh, man. You guys are killing me. I need pods. I need pods in my life.
Yeah.
It's the only thing getting me through.
The pods are a good substance right now. Well, for this week of Power On Weekly, for the week of, where are we at? September 7th through the 13th. We're going to talk about a few things this week. The Xbox...
Big news!
Big news. The Xbox Series S was finally revealed. Not in the way that we thought it would be, by the way. Ubisoft Forward had another forward, so it's even more forward than the last.
Oh, getting too forward here.
Yeah, and then Allie and I are going to sit down and talk about a game that is very, very, not near and dear to your heart, but like...
it's a game.
It's a game, and we'll talk about it later. Steve will not be joining us for that because he has not played that game.
Sorry about it.
Series S was finally revealed this week. Kind of a reveal. It was leaked by somebody called Brad Smith.
Somebody called?
Somebody
called Brad Smith.
He's leaking out the series.
Close enough. Not bad.
There you go. That was good. He posted a video on YouTube literally talking about everything on Monday the 7th, and it was just like out of nowhere, like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, our time. And it was just like, what?
It was even later than that, no? Wasn't it like almost, it was like past midnight.
No. Microsoft tweeted that meme. They tweeted out that meme, the puppet meme, the one where he's like looking off to the side. Yeah. Which I thought was hilarious. But he actually, like I said, he put it on his YouTube like at 9. And when I was seeing this, I was like, who is this guy? Like, why are people actually reporting on it? Windows Central reported on it, and then IGN reported on it like an hour after.
Who is he? Do you know?
No, I have no idea.
He was right.
He was right. No, he was. And I mean, he pretty much revealed exactly what it was, even to the point where he actually put what the Series X prices were and everything like that as well. Now, fast forward to the next day after the Xbox response of the puppet meme. They did officially announce it of the Xbox Series S, $299. They didn't announce it at release date until the next day, where they officially announced the Series X price and the release date and Xbox Game Pass plus EA Play. So a lot of things happen in like 3 days.
Can you imagine keeping this under wrap for that long to just have some random guy at 9 p.m. on YouTube be like, "Hey guys, what's up? My name's Brad."
Yeah, that is something that a lot of people were kind of like disappointed in. But I mean, but we've talked about it the other 2 episodes. Like,
it's been forever.
It's been such a long time.
But still, like at this point, we waited so long. I would have rather have not had it leaked. Yeah.
Steve, what did you think about this while it was happening?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, I think it's a big move by Microsoft. We knew this was going to happen, essentially. Like, it wasn't some super kept secret that, like, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this thing is a thing. It's like, this thing has been rumored for months. So, I mean, it kind of dampens it, right? But I think it's a huge move. I think it's a really smart move. I feel like every time I'm home, we're talking about Microsoft. But they've been making big moves. So the Series S is certainly... I don't think it was an intentional move to be as big as it actually is. Like, clearly they wanted to do something that was more budget friendly, right? They knew that the buy-in for a $500 gaming machine wasn't the most palatable thing for a lot of people. But clearly the Series S has been in the works in development way before the pandemic. But with the pandemic, that's such a huge, I guess, lucky strike of gold for them. So it totally works. And Irving, we texted pretty much like right after, like the next day or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, I mean, why not get it? Like, if you got the money, like if you got a $300 lying around, which, like, if you're 25 or older, you
Yeah.
pretty much have the money, or theoretically. So I don't know. I think it's a good move. It's not going to hurt anything. It's going to give them more sales. They're never going to make money on consoles anyway. We've talked about that before. They're
Yeah.
all in on Game Pass, and this is a Game Pass machine. And I think what a lot of it's going to be for people like me, like you, Irving, who have multiple rooms. It's like I don't know what to put in there. Like, I'd like to be able to game on a TV, because like I do all my gaming right here. Like, I have my Xbox, I have my PlayStation, my Switch, and my PC. So I play everything right here, and I miss playing on the couch, right? Like, so that's a thing for me where I'm like, well, I'm not going to get the Series X, at least for me. Like, the Series X, until it goes on sale, until it drops to like $350, it makes no sense for me. I have this gaming PC. So I'm just going to I have Game Pass for PC, which right now was $1. So I was like, why not? I got Flight Simulator for like 30 cents. So that's why I've been playing everything on here. And then if I want to go play on the couch, if I want to go play Cuphead on the couch, or if I want to do some couch co-op with Tony Hawk, I'll go do that with my Series S. Which, can I go on a tangent real quick?
Go ahead. I think we already know what you're going to say.
This has been weighing on me for like a year. Microsoft is awful at naming things. Just terrible at naming things. What? Why? Why is, like, okay, here we go. Irving, I'm going to put you in a scenario. You are a abuela, you're a grandma, you got to get little Ricardo something for Christmas, and he wants the Xbox. So he wants an Xbox. So you go to Target, or you go to Walmart, whatever, and like like any grandma with an accent is like, I want an Xbox Series X or whatever, and they go Series X or Series S. So I don't know which one I want. Like, these people don't know, like, they're not like us who just know, like, I know the difference. People like general consumer, or like grandma, mom, uncle, aunt doesn't know the difference between Series S and Series X. There's gonna be a lot of kids that are screwed at Christmas this year and next year and the year after that, because these names are dumb. Like, okay, let's just as always compare to Sony.
Yeah.
PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. It's very simple. PS4 Pro, PS4 Slim. This is the good one. This is the tiny one. It's so simple. And then Microsoft comes in here. Okay, we got the Xbox Series S, X. We have the Xbox One X, the Xbox One S. It's like, why are they choosing letters that sound identical? And what do they stand for? What is S for?
I don't know.
Small?
I mean,
Xbox Series Small? Xbox Series Extreme? Like, what are these? What are the letters? They mean nothing. They mean nothing.
The only thing I can think of, and it draws parallels to, is phones, which is ironically something that I kind of want to bring up later on when we discuss the All Access program. But I mean, phones are like that. Like, you got the iPhone 10s and the X, or the Samsung.
Well, that
Galaxy
was
S
10.
Plus
that was
or
10.
whatever.
The X was a 10. So there was a Roman numeral.
You know what I mean.
That was bad. Yeah, but that was bad on my Apples. Sure.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, it's not even just abuela. Like, literally, we have been watching, news on this, and how many times in that video today did we watch from Inside Gaming where he said X and he meant S every single time? So on the screen, it'd have to come up with like the little asterisk S, S. And this is like coming from professionals in the industry who are saying the wrong thing because they're so similar when they're just in the middle of talking and trying to like explain something, and you're just rolling out the wrong one on accident just because it is that similar. It's not even confusing to just abuela. It's literally like professionals and people who are the market. Like, how many times with like the X, the 1X and the 1S would you be talking about it? And I'd look at Irving and go, which one is that? Like, even before like these announcements. Yeah, no, the naming is awful. I would constantly have to be like, okay, Irving, which one are you talking about? and he would have to be like, oh, the one that's blah 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 blah. Because
Do you
again,
remember when like the Xbox One was about like rumored? Was it? I don't even remember what the project was. It wasn't Scarlet or whatever
Scarlet?
it was.
Scarlet, yeah.
Was it Scarlet? But
Mhm.
remember how everyone was like calling it the Xbox 720,
Yeah, I do remember that.
which would have made sense. Would have made way
Yeah.
more sense.
540,
would've.
540 would have made technically the next step,
Like
but
a,
yeah.
well, a
Yeah.
half spin, sure. But if you're doing a full,
Oh, okay, yeah,
a
no,
full
you're right.
rotation.
A full, yeah, 360.
But
and then
still,
we got
like
1080.
okay, so we have the Xbox, then we have the Xbox 360. Okay, we got a trend, kinda.
Mm-hmm.
Now we go
Kinda.
Xbox One, which is supposed to be the one is like the all-encompassing entertainment system, right? Didn't do
into
that.
the series,
And then now it's the series. Like I'm just looking
and they
down
have the same
road.
letters.
Yeah, X and S, and then you look down the road. It's like, now what? Like there is no cohesiveness of naming, and that's just like poor marketing. And it's like
Yeah, no, I
that
agree.
made it past everybody. Like that made it all the way up to Phil Spencer, and he's like, stamp of approval. We're good. Let's roll.
Sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I'm good. We're all in on the Xbox Series XSL, XFL, NFL, NBA.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
Nailed
we
it.
we actually like we were talking about earlier how awful it is. It's like it's so confusing for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Xbox Series S, I think that's gonna be to bring it all back home. I think that's like a good like entry point. I don't want to spend a ton of money. I mean, it's almost half the price. And Irving, I was texting you about that too. Like, wait till like 2021, 2022, when the Xbox Series S is like $249.99 on Black Friday. Boom, man, that's a big. And there's like everyone's like Halo, and maybe there's another Halo down the line, like whatever. Like that's gonna be the big move. They're thinking long game. We see it coming a mile away. We've seen it for the last 2-3 years. They've been thinking long term, not launch. And that's gonna be something that's gonna be in my living room. It's tiny. It works. It's 1080p, targeting 1440 up to 60, maybe over 60 frames. But like for the
Up
general
to 120,
consumer,
yeah.
120, yeah, up to 120. Probably not going to be 120. Let's be real though. It's probably going to be
Most-
more. In
yeah,
this,
just
it's going to be in the
select
60
games.
range.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's going to be like Overcooked will run at 120. Like cool. But like yeah, no, like 60 frames, 1440 to 1080. No one like most people don't need more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I agree with you in the sense of like this is more for like casual gamers for sure, but I think it's also a great price difference as well. It's such a big difference that you know what's the more powerful one, what's the hardcore gaming one, and what's the more consumer friendly one. And it's not $100 difference, it's $200 difference.
That's
so
big.
for those who want to like really save, then there it is, right? And you get introduced into the Xbox ecosystem. You have that console. It might be even like a good secondary console for those who are going to get a PlayStation 5 and they're like, you know what, I still want to be in the ecosystem, so let me get the S.
Yeah. And it's also true too, is like just on that pricing point, the difference in the pricing. Like think like PS4 or PS5, right? Like PS5, boom, is gonna be whatever, $499, whatever it's gonna be. And then the all digital is probably gonna be like $50 less. So like that's not really a big difference enough for people like, oh, I'm gonna go get it.
It basically seems like this console is just the upgraded Xbox One, in my opinion. Like I imagine probably enough of the hardware or the stuff internally is the same with the nice upgrades. Like I mean, 'cause everyone keeps talking about the size of the console too. If it's almost the same size as this, it almost even kind of looks like this still. Like it just feels like here's the upgraded version, and then here the other one is like your next gen. That's kind of more the impression I've been getting,
Yeah,
if
no,
that makes sense.
for sure. It's definitely smaller than this one.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
what I've
but
s-
you know what I
yeah.
mean though, like with how big the
Yeah.
the X is, and with like looking at the shape and size of it, it's like more comparable to the older console. So I mean, it just almost feels like here's the upgraded version of that, and that's another reason they were able to keep like maybe pricing down is some of the things are similar in there.
Yeah, so
If that, I don't know if I'm making sense.
yeah, no, for sure. Like let me break down what is similar about the X and the S as well. They both use the same CPU, which is actually pretty crazy. That's the heart of the console. That's the thing that literally makes it go. They both use the same CPU. The only difference is that the graphics card is significantly lower, with only 4 teraflops on the S, and the X has the 12 teraflop CPU. We know that the PlayStation 5 CPU is like 10 teraflops, 10 point something, whatever. So, like as far as like graphics wise, that's why it can't do 4K. It can upscale to 4K and run at 1440 and up to 120, but that's why it doesn't do the 4K. The only other thing that also is kind of concerning is the 500 gigabyte hard drive that the
Yeah,
only digital edition, the digital version of the Xbox
yeah, that's a problem.
has a $500 gigabyte hard drive. And I actually wanted, because not a lot of people saw the episode that we talked about where they discontinued the X or the One X, which I mean we were totally right about, because this is pretty much exactly
Yeah,
what we said in that
we
episode.
called it.
Um, a lot of people had this confusion where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna get the S, and then I'm just gonna take my WD hard drive and
As
like
I've been doing.
yeah, I'm gonna get a two terabyte for $60, and it'll be working on that. It doesn't work. It
You know, the
has
other thing too, I'm really upset about on that is if you look at the front of the Series S, and I haven't really looked closely at the Series X, but it's a USB-A port. Like how that's not USB-C at this point, like is
oh
kind of. I know it's a small detail, like it's like the white console, right? Like obviously,
yeah
but like it's like at the bottom left, like where it is on this on the S right now.
yeah
It's
I did see that.
it's a USB-A port. I was like, what are we doing, guys? Like, we're not
Yeah
going USB-C? Like, come on. I know that's like a minor detail, but
How
it's just
they
kind of weird.
save that money.
yeah.
I
I
mean, it's little
guess.
things like that that are gonna, knock dollars off of
What
things
is it, like 10
Mhm.
when it comes
cents?
to retail. Yeah, but I mean, again, if they know that they're gonna go in the negative already with a console and they want to market at a $299, that's gonna add up really quick on their end. If you think about the mass amount of consoles
disappointing.
they're gonna have to make. No, absolutely. But I mean, it's little details like that that show this is definitely, even though it's still a huge improvement from last generation, it is the budget console.
Yeah. So, something else that was announced as well was the Xbox All Access program, which this wasn't really technically announced. It's just that they clarified what like how this is going to work with the new consoles. This has been a thing for when the Xbox One X came out. That you
Over a
can,
year or two.
yeah, that you can do that, and then there was also an upgrade portion of it to where it was like once you get past 18 months, you can then upgrade to the next one and then continue paying off your console from there. So what it is for the Series S, you pay $25 a month for 24 months. And it also comes, so you get the box, you get the console, you get the controller, and it comes with Game Pass Ultimate, which is a $15 value.
And gold.
And which is, yeah, and gold,
Oh,
basically.
is that what's in?
Well,
That's what makes it
Game
the
Pass
Ultimate?
Ultimate is, yeah.
Got it.
And with the announcement of EA Play also being added to it with no extra charge, you ran the numbers, Ali, and you actually save $60 in those 2 years. But that means that you're gonna get like that only really saves you money if you were already planning on getting the console and you were already planning on having Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, right? The same thing could be said with the Series S with $35 a month with Game Pass Ultimate, all that fun stuff. You only save $40, but again, if you were already gonna do that,
You save money in the long run.
and you don't have to fork out in a world of where we are right now, where money's kind of tight. You don't have to fork that up right away. This is really genius because Alana Pierce, she pointed this out, but she said that this is really similar to how phones are sold nowadays. You don't just go out and you buy $1,000 iPhone. No, you go to Sprint, you go to Verizon. You don't go to Sprint. You go to
Please
Verizon,
don't.
AT&T, and you set up a payment program basically to pay off that, including your service. So this is pretty much, if you think about it, it doesn't really seem like out of the ordinary because we're already doing that with $1,000 phones, right?
Yeah.
Steve, with that perspective, what do you think about like that? Do you agree with that? That's kind of the direction that they're going with, and it kind of makes sense as to why.
Yeah, I think just overall the business model of entertainment has changed. It has changed more rapidly this year because of unforeseen circumstances. But yeah, I think overall you as a consumer, you're still paying everything, but they're trying to pull it over your eyes a little bit where they're like, hey, look, it's only $22 a month, like, but in the long run, it's like, yo, I still spent $1,200 on this phone. Like what? So yeah, that's that kind of like veil of affordability is around. I mean, in the Xbox's sense, overall gaming wise, new console, that's pretty affordable, like historically. The closest thing to that, like the Switch was like 300, right, at launch, like 349 maybe 300. But yeah, like that's it kind of goes twofold where it's like, okay, this is where the world of entertainment, gaming included, is going, this veil of affordability. But Xbox has kind of, it's not really a veil. It's actually like we talked about, like what, episode 3 or whatever it was, episode 4,
Yeah.
where we're just like, yo, this isn't a catch. Like it's really kind of weird. And like I think us as like American consumers can't really process that. We're just like, wait, there's got to be
Where's the
something
catch?
wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where's
like
the catch?
come
Where
on,
is
dude.
it?
Like read the fine print. Like what, I clicked accept. Where is it? Like like I can't cancel, or like what is it? But
Yeah.
it really, it's kind of, I guess it's kind of weird. It's like when you eat Ben and Jerry's and you're like, oh, this is good ice cream from a company that treats their employees well. What's going on? Like, why is everything
Yeah.
good? But that's kind of like how
hilarious.
Xbox is rolling with it. And yeah, it does feel like buying a phone now, but maybe it should feel like that.
Yeah. And I think the direction of this is, I mean, we could keep going back and forth of how non-traditional this generation has been with Xbox, and this is just another example of their non-traditional form.
Well, they've always been non-traditional, right? They've always kind of been in that space. Like, sure, maybe when they started, but like the Xbox kind of came out of left field. Remember, Microsoft was a software company, like, and they came into the hardware game out of nowhere. And they're like, here you go. And there's this incredible game called Halo, all out of nowhere. And it was like, it was a big deal. And then the 360 comes out, and it's like this sleek looking weird little, got a waist, and it's like you can play Guitar Hero on this, and like Halo 2 and all this stuff. And you're just like, whoa, like what is this? And then the Xbox One came out, and it was a big swing and a miss, but it was trying to be something different, right? It was like, plug your TV in, and like I did do that. I did plug my direct TV into my Xbox One, and I loved that. And I loved being able to control it with my voice and like all that kind of stuff. So like I kind of wish that stuff came back, and like I wish they put like or at least have it like, I mean, I know you can like do Alexa and Google a little bit with it. I wish it was more integrated, but
Yeah.
at least it's not Cortana, because that's just awful. But
Oof.
yeah, no, Xbox has always been non-traditional, and I think this is probably their biggest swing yet.
All right. With that being said, our question of the week is actually tied to this conversation. This week we asked, with the news of pricing from Xbox this week, would you rather get an S or an X, and why? We got a few responses. From Adrian, he says, like the specs on the X, I'm hyped for it. And then he sends a little gif of X going give it to you.
Nice.
Yes, very nice. Again, Jordan Alexis using Rona's Twitter says, Series X is for me. It's around the price that was expecting, and since I have a 4K TV already, I'm going to put it to use when I can. Yeah, I mean, everyone pretty much nailed the pricing. I think we all kind of had an idea it was going to be $500. The original Xbox One was $500, so
Yeah.
I was really worried it was going to be 6. I was really worried it was going to be up to 6.
I wasn't.
But
I'm
I'm
worried
glad
for
they're able to do 5.
PlayStation.
yeah.
Yeah,
like
well, they're apparently reconfiguring. I saw something this
Hmm.
week that said that they might be reconfiguring their prices or something to that effect. But I mean, it's
heard
all
that
hearsay,
rumor
so who
too.
knows? Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, it would make sense. We all kind of figured that it would be either 500 plus. And like you said earlier, Steve, like there's no way that the Slim is going to be like $200 cheaper like the S.
Yeah,
Like,
the all digital. Yeah.
yeah, you're losing a hard, like a disk drive that's like $50. Like it's not that big of
Yeah.
a deal. And then Rona says, debating between the X or the S. I don't care about the specs as much, and I think the S is small and cute, but Jordan thinks we should have the better version, upgraded version, which I understand to an extent. I think we've been going kind of back and forth on both of them, right? At first we were like S all the way, like that's we don't really need that much of an upgrade. All this, we don't really even have a 4K TV. And then we noticed that it says 4K TV. Both these TVs are apparently 4K. We just never
I
knew.
have no idea.
Yeah, so I don't know. We're kind of on the fence. If we do, I think either of the consoles.
You said doo-doo.
Yeah,
Good. Very good, Ali. Very, very good.
either of the consoles, I think we're going to we do the all access, right? Because in reality, for both of us, if we did the S, that'd be $50 a month. Or if we did 2Xs, it'd be like $70.
Here's my thing on it, right? When it came down to I have to pay $300 two times or $500 two times? The clear answer is going to be I don't have a lot of money to spend, to be honest. And we're a 2-gamer household. Like, we don't have the luxury of being like, oh, well, it's not that big of a price difference, because that's a $400 price difference for us because we're both going to need new consoles. But the minute I saw that it's basically a 24-month contract and it would be 35 times 2, which is like
70.
70,
Mhm.
like, that completely changes the game on me almost being willing to spend more money.
Mhm.
Because like we were saying earlier, there's no catch on this.
Yeah.
In fact, when you run the numbers, you save money. It's not like you're on a financing program where you're going to be charged interest. Like, honestly, with there being no interest, there's almost no excuse, unless you are not going to use Game Pass, to not just finance this.
Yeah.
I mean, because you can be putting $500 elsewhere. Like, there's just no reason not to. But like, when it comes to deciding which, if we were having to spend, like I said, the $500 two times out, right out of our own pockets, no financing, I would definitely be leaning towards the cheaper console. But at the same time, with a financing option, it makes it more accessible for us. I'm willing to just pay it off slowly. And the fact that we still have our original Xboxes, our Xbox Ones, says a lot, because so honestly, more than likely, I will never upgrade this. So coming out the gate, it makes more sense for us to almost invest in the nicer, fancier console, because the chances of us upgrading these are slim. So like, instead of starting with the cheap version or the lesser console, if I can pay $35 a month, get the really, really nice console, and potentially never upgrade, I'm good with that. That's just kind of my
and you'll have it for
personal-
8 years or 7 years,
Yes.
right? So
exactly.
We'll basically do what we did with these. I mean, there was 2 mid-generation consoles that were released between this. It was the S, the Slim, the sad edition, which we won't talk about because it's sad, and then the X, the 1X, right? And even then, we didn't jump on it because we knew that
this was coming.
These were coming. The only thing I will say though, now I literally just had this thought. We're thinking about this of like 2 Series X's, $35 a month, $70 between the both of us. They both come with Game Pass. We technically only pay for 1 Game Pass for you and me.
You're right. I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about it until you were talking about it. I was like, wait, we're paying for Game Pass twice then. So
can you finance without Game Pass?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think the whole point of it is to get it.
Still though, it's
Well,
still,
how about getting
again,
one Series X and one
makes it-
Series S?
Well, I wouldn't even want to do that, because we still both play, and we still like
Yeah.
one of us is, it's going to be me. I'm going to be the one with and I probably wouldn't notice the difference in the specs.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, that's not fair. Like, I want the nice thing too.
So-
right?
so
It's
I'm
like
just
the-
trying
it's
to
like
save you
the
money.
Yeah, it's like the sibling thing, right? Where it's like, it would be like, well, if he gets it, why don't I get the nice thing? Like, I don't want the
Yeah.
hand-me-down. I think
fine,
though,
all right.
I think it still it goes back into the accessibility though, that, you know what, like, then if we're both going to get the same console, I'm willing to spend $500 and finance the other. Again, I'm still right out of pocket saving money, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not having to spend $1,000 in one go.
We'll have to look into that, because I don't want to like assume that and be like, oh, we'll just do what we've been doing, where we game share and we share the same, Xbox or the Game Pass Ultimate. And
I don't.
Yeah.
It'd be weird if
Yeah.
they didn't have something like household
Yeah.
thing. It would
'Cause
that would be really messed up.
because it's funny, because it's
Yeah.
not an official feature. Like, they don't say it like, oh, you can do this workaround or whatever. It's just people
it's there.
have just figured it out, and it's like the Mercy thing, right? Where she does the super jump. Like, they know it's there, they know it's a bug, but they're like, So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think still for me, it's more like it's gonna all the games are gonna be on PC, and they're doing that on purpose. Because they're like, yo, I could still get $60 out of you, or I could still get $10 a month, from you every month. So I'm still leaning just staying on my PC. I'm kind of all in on the PC race now.
Yeah.
Gross.
I know I'm a total
Mustard.
dweeb now,
You
but
smell like mustard.
Mustard race.
thanks. But I mean, eventually, I think if it's a Black Friday deal, I think the S will drop to $249. Man, it's gonna
Yeah.
drop there at some point, and then it's gonna be bundled with freaking Minecraft or something, and boom, there
Yeah.
you go. Or
There you
bundled with 3 months free of Game Pass or whatever. They're gonna do those types of promotions at Best Buy, and that's when I'll jump on it. Boom, get me a Series S, pop it on the TV in the living room, and we're good to go.
That was actually something I wanted to actually talk about too. So what are if all of your first party games are now in Game Pass, what kind of bundles do you think they would do? Like where are those opportunities going to come? But I think
3
that's a
months,
good call.
6
And like
months,
maybe
yeah.
a special edition console that looks different, like they did like the Sea of Thieves purple one that I really wanted.
The
Yeah, they'll
controller,
still
yeah.
do all that stuff. It's all.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
but
all.
exactly. It's
free.
interesting.
That's free for
What's
them.
the
They
bundle
just
now,
paint
though?
it.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
the bundle though? Like it kind
It'll
of
be
takes
their-
out that. I think
Yeah.
the Game Pass is.
Well,
is
you got to
smart.
remember too. Remember with Game Pass, if you want to buy the games outright and own them, you get it discounted.
You
It's
do.
like 10%
Yeah,
off or whatever.
But why? But
So-
why would you? You know what I mean though? Like it
Well, if you
feels
don't
like
like
less
it,
incentive.
Well, because here's a perfect example for that. So my roommate, not a big gamer, he bought an Xbox One years ago and has played GTA like 10 times and hasn't touched it since. But during COVID, lost a job and has been home a lot. And he saw me playing Red Dead and he's like, that looks fun. Let me play some Red Dead. And I was like, oh, well, you can get Game Pass for $1 and Red Dead's on there right now.
Mhm.
This is obviously a few months ago.
Yeah.
And he's like, maybe not. And like, that's kind of like that. Like, I'm not a major gamer. I don't need all these games. I'm still going to
Yeah.
buy them. I'd rather just own them outright. But it's like, that's when I was like, well, maybe you try Game Pass and then end up like, then you can always just buy Red Dead or whatever. So it's just nice to have the options, right?
Yeah.
And like, they're all still like, gaming's not going to change too much. There's still going to be the Legacy Edition and this edition and the Pro Gamer Edition. It comes with the Tony Hawk skateboard and like the Halo Master Chief helmet. Like they're still gonna do that. Like that's still gonna keep happening because people want collectibles and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's not gonna change. But the bundles are gonna change, and they're probably just gonna be like, here you go, 3 months, boom,
Mhm.
gets you hooked for life. I mean, that happened to me with like Google Play Music like 10 years ago. Like I got a free Pixel 2. I got like 2 months, and then I paid that for 4 years. Like I paid $10 for 4 years every month. So that's a totally genius marketing scheme. That's what they'll do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, that's basically all the time we have for that conversation. But we talked a lot about it.
It's the big news.
It
It's the
is.
thing we've been leading up to for months.
Oh,
Our
yeah.
whole podcast has been leading up to this
No,
moment.
that's true. One thing, real quick. I know I just said that, but real quick before it's funny because Wednesday when they officially announced everything, that was the
Wednesday.
anniversary of the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 1, the original PlayStation, the 25th anniversary of it. Rumor was that Sony was supposed to announce their stuff then, and we know that Microsoft was supposed to go next week, and now they're flipped. So
all
that's
because
weird.
of one leak. We see you, Brad Smith.
Brad
You
Smith,
ruined
you
everything.
son of a gun, you ruined it all. Really making $1 million companies just
Change
up
their
everything.
schedules. Yeah, you ruined the anniversary of the PlayStation.
Yeah. So if you guys
Yeah,
are mad
just
about
interesting. So we might have more news next week.
that. Yeah, no,
This week.
Yes,
This coming week.
this
This
week,
coming
yeah.
Wednesday.
They did say
For
that
next
they're-
podcast.
Yeah, they
We
did
might
say
have the next reveal.
yeah, we'll talk about
Exciting.
the PlayStation 5 and see what that comes up. There's a lot of crazy
Give
rumors
us a
going around.
price. Give us a price already. Give us a
Price.
date.
Steve, I'm sure they'll give us a price, and there's crazy rumors of a gold platinum, or like a 24 karat gold versions of these
And
things.
you know what? Brad will be there to leak it.
Yeah, Brad will be
Thanks,
gone
Brad.
Monday. Yeah, see you tomorrow, Brad.
WWBD. What would Brad do?
Once again, thank you, Steve, for joining us. Now, Allie actually brought to my attention last episode when we were watching it back that I hadn't asked her the question that I ask all the new special guests that we have, which the question is, if you can erase one video game from your memory to re-experience again, what game would that be? And you actually have a really interesting answer, Allie, and it's because you've never played this game.
Yeah, it's a little awkward.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about a little bit of it, and then at some point we're gonna say from now on we're gonna
We're gonna have a spoiler warning.
Yes.
We'll get there though.
we'll get there, and we'll let you know Okay.
Yeah.
But what game would it be, Allie? If you could erase one video game from your memory to re-experience again, what game would that be?
It'd be Soma. And so, like I said, my experience with Soma, it's funny because like everyone's answer is a game that they've played and that like they love and they hold dear to their hearts. And like I didn't play Soma. We actually watched Markiplier play it. Now the thing is, you and Justin were gonna play it when it came out for either your YouTube channel or his YouTube channel. I don't remember which. And it didn't really grasp you guys. I remember you guys like played a little bit into it and then decided, no, it's not really for us. And I think we really watched Markiplier's playthrough on a whim, just kind of just what we would do, whatever the new game was. We'd kind of just play it in the background or while we were eating dinner. So because you guys were really not interested in it, it gave me no interest in actually playing it. And that's why we ended up watching this playthrough. Yeah. So it's kind of this weird situation where it's like I really wish I had played it after we watched the entire thing through. Because
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
because it's so good. So like for me, it's this like weird thing of like knowing what I know now, that would be the game I would erase from my memory and play. Because it's definitely a game that I would have never, and it's a game I would have never personally ever picked up. So that's what's so interesting about it having become one of my favorite games that and being a favorite game. It's funny because I've never actually played it.
Yeah. So you're right. It was Justin and I were playing it for his podcast or his channel. This was around the time where I was doing the Irving Legend thing and we were doing Outlast and we were playing spooky games. So he was like, let's play another spooky game. Soma just came out on PlayStation. Let's give it a go. And we got like 2 episodes in, and I don't even think that we lost interest in it. I just think that with our schedules and everything, he just never came over to re-record because he was using our setup to record the audio and to record from our face cam and to record the gameplay because he didn't have any capture cards or anything like that, and that's why he came over to do it. And I think he just really didn't come back again, and I don't think it grasped him as much. But that's kind of why I also was like, yeah, let's just watch Markiplier play it because this is around the time where Markiplier was like playing all the spooky games and he played Five Nights at Freddy's, you know, the SP, whatever the heck, that game, and like Slender as well. And so this was just another spooky game. But I feel like this game is marketed as a like survival horror game because it's made by Frictional Games, the people who did Amnesia, right? And Penundrum, right? Or whatever it's called.
I only know the Amnesia.
But everyone always sees Frictional Games as scary game, blah, blah, blah. So naturally, Soma would be a scary game as well. And there are horror elements to it, but it's way beyond that.
It's definitely more of a thriller.
Mm-hmm.
Like a mental thriller. And that's the thing is like looking back on this, people expected another Amnesia and another like with jump scares and the horror elements. And this game did not get the recognition it deserved because it wasn't what people expected, I don't think.
They passed it off as a not as scary as Amnesia, so why am I going to keep playing it or something like that,
They
right?
went in with expectations of something different, and when it didn't deliver, I don't know, like because I never hear anyone talk about this game ever. And it's so good.
Yeah, we rewatched it.
We actually rewatched it because we started talking about it, and I was like, again, like it's kind of like my memory, like to be completely honest, is not great. Like I remember major details of things, but like so rewatching it, I thought like, oh, I already know what to expect. I already kind of know what's gonna happen, and I know what the big twists are and all that. But like even rewatching it, I got emotional and I got invested, and like at the end, I was like sitting there crying over like how intense it gets. So it was like it's one of those things where it's like revisiting it, I was worried like, well, what if it didn't age good, or like what if it's not as intense or as thrilling as I remember it being, or as it's thought provoking. And I spent the next 2 days thinking about this game again, like, and it's the same thoughts I had the first time I watched it, and that's the big thing. So when it comes to like something that I would love to, and I'm back again to where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I wish I could erase my mind.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what was going to happen, but even still knowing what was going to happen, it still brought me to the exact same place from the first time we watched it. And it still gave me those same questions about humanity and like morality, and it's so I still think to this day this game lives up to that memory I had of it. And like, yeah, so I can like 100% say, like, if I could erase my memory, I would erase my memory, and I would personally play through this with no expectations, just to feel that
impact,
and to be the one who has to make the decisions that have to be made in this game. And I think that's where the only thing that sucks is, like, having watched Markiplier play it, I'm never gonna have to go through the emotional impacts of making some decisions that this game makes you make.
Yeah.
So
great. Yeah. I mean, that's
well, I'm gonna comment really quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
The thing is, and just to, like, I guess just to answer the question that made us even bring this up, is the reason that I would want to re-experience it is it's the whole thing just makes you think about humanity and what it means to be human. And what's so interesting about it is it's not a new concept.
Yeah.
It's not a new concept at all. In fact, I know that is why you love Blade Runner so
Yes.
much, is it's about the morality of them being machines, but they have human emotions, and they have
Human
things that
memories
make
and-
them seem human even though they aren't physically. So what's so interesting about this game is it's that concept. And that's really all I want to give away out of the non-spoiler territory,
Yeah.
because you find out very early in this
Yeah.
detail that it's about the humanity and not being human. But I feel human, and I look human, and I seem human. And I think why this game takes a concept that's been done, but it's so impactful, is unlike a movie, you have hours to live as this person or this robot or whatever it is, and you have the time to be this and to grow attached, and you have human feelings for them, and you feel human sympathy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'm making sense.
You do if you played the game, but I like and I think we can, if you want, we can just jump right into spoiler territory from here on out, because it's kind of hard to talk about this game without spoiling it.
But really the whole point I'm trying to get across with that, though, is like it's impactful taking a concept that's been done, because you have so much time to live in it. Yeah. A game can deliver, and this is coming from me, who I'm not someone who loves to play games for stories. I'm really not. I don't play a lot of story-driven games. So the fact that this impacted me in the way that it did, I think, is the other reason that it's so interesting, and I highly recommend it, because I'm not a story-driven, like, if I'm gonna be invested in something for a story, I'm gonna watch a TV show or I'm gonna watch a movie. So the fact that this game, like, impacts, like, and 2 times I've watched it and it has impacted me as hard as it has, that is a lot. As for, like, yeah, like Irving saying, like, the spoiler talk, we're gonna get into that now. And I'm going to be completely honest, if you haven't played this game, please don't watch.
Yeah, please don't.
I would genuinely, and that's how good I think this game is. I would rather take the loss on YouTube retention time, and have you guys end your episode with us here right now, than hear the spoilers we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's you making these major decisions, and I think it's one of those games that just going in blind, the experience is going to be so much better.
It's like Gone Girl. Like, if you've never seen Gone Girl,
it's my Gone Girl of games.
Go into Gone Girl blind as well.
Don't know anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
the movie, by the way. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, so if you are even would potentially play it, just bye.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining this
See you guys
episode.
next week. Yeah.
We appreciate you all.
Yeah.
And
that's your spoiler.
And you can come back after you've watched it, and we'll talk, because I would love to talk to people. That's the other thing. I want people to go play this, so I have people to talk to about it, because I think it's so interesting, and I have no one to talk to but Irving.
Yeah. Justin, please, for the love of, you have the game, dude. Like, just play it. Like,
play it for your YouTube.
Yes.
Please.
Play it for your YouTube.
And don't play it on stream, so that you can live the decisions.
Yes.
Like,
no distractions.
That's
no
the
chat.
other thing too. This is not a game you want to play your first time on a stream, or like you want to just live this.
Yeah. So that's your spoiler warning.
Yeah, you've had plenty of time.
10 minutes into the conversation. So let's dive right into it. Also, like you talked about the morality, and you talked about why this game is so why we like it so much, why I like it so much, because it reminds me a lot of like Blade Runner. Blade Runner is very much about what it means to be human. You know, replicants are these robots that have human emotions, human memories.
Even
and
look human.
You look human.
You can't tell.
Yeah, like you have to do a test to determine if they're a replicant or not, and all that. And even in 2049, like that whole journey of him spoilers for 2049 apparently, but of Kay thinking he was the child, and it just gets swept under the rug that he wasn't it, and you find out that it was
You're not the special.
Yeah, that whole concept is so incredible. And you're right that like movies can do that too, and they've done it before, obviously. But when you're playing with a game where you're literally living this for multiple hours, and the decisions that you're making, they're not just like, oh, boom, they're done. You literally sit there and you have to make those decisions. How many times did Markiplier literally like cut to a different scene and he's like,
because he'd been sitting there thinking.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine living in my head, about these decisions.
Yeah. So what are the decisions that really broke you, or really like really made you think, and why this game is the reason the reason why you would erase from your memory? So what specific situations in the game and decisions in the games that you have to do? Because first of all, these decisions don't change the outcome of the game.
No.
They're solely for you as the player. They're not a Mass Effect where a character might die or a character might be not in the next game or whatever. This is literally just decision making for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have consequences, and that's what you think about. But they're
Yeah.
consequences you don't see for the most part until the very end of the game.
Yeah.
So throughout the game, basically in this game, your memory, they have a program where your memory has been copied.
Yes.
And stored like data. And so you're a guy in like 2018 or something, and you start the game as this guy, and then suddenly you're in an unknown place, an unknown like it feels like a laboratory. Yeah. And as you're going through, you start to realize you're in the future.
You're in the future,
underwater, and you come to find out that you are a copy of yourself.
Yes.
You're not the you that sat in that chair. And you're literally like, he's like 100 years in the future, and the world has been destroyed by a comet, and the only living people were in this base underwater. And they're creating this thing called the Ark, where they're taking all of those stored memories and they're going to continue humanity in space.
Yes.
As a big freaking computer of memories where they continue to live for thousands of years.
Yeah.
That's the very like TLDR, like short term, unimpactful story. Yeah. But so as you're going through this, you're realizing there's all this other stuff that's going on, but you're realizing there are no humans left, as far as you know. And you're running into these computers that have these people's memories in them, and they all think they're human.
Yeah.
And you realize very early in that you're not human. So as you're going through this, you have multiple times where you have to make decisions. Do I end this computer's life? It thinks it's human. There is no humanity left. This is the last bit of humanity. Do I potentially? It makes you feel like you're ending a human's life.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like you are killing an actual person in how they present things and how impactful everything is. But so what gets me is probably about 75% into the game, you as the player are understanding this concept that you are not human. And you come to find out that anytime, you can probably explain this better, like you're a copy. Like
yes.
Anytime you switch into something, you're a copy. So a copy becomes can you explain that better?
Yeah. So in the game, he comes to a point where he's in a suit currently, and they need to switch into another suit that's like a deep dive suit or whatever. And they can do it by setting up like what they talk about with the WoW and everything, which is a whole other thing that we'll talk about maybe. But regardless, you have to copy he thinks he's transferring his brain into this new body.
He thinks he's doing a cut and paste but it's a copy and paste, if that makes sense.
Instead of Alt X, he's doing an Alt C basically, right? Or Control C.
Yeah,
like instead of Control X.
They can't just move it. They have to copy it.
Yes. So when you're like on your hard drive, if you have like a video and you copy that and you move it into another thing, those two still exist. That original one still exists.
And if you edit that other video, that original still is there.
Yeah. And exactly. If you edit the copy that you make, that original is still there. And it's the basic concept of here, right? And so like the whole like premise of this is like this guy thinks that all he's doing is just transferring his brain, and he can't wrap his mind around that he's making copies of himself. So when he goes into the next body, he hears his previous body
that was just him.
Yeah.
3 seconds ago.
Talking like, oh, did something go wrong? What happened? And the Catherine, right, the character, she puts him to sleep. And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, hold on. Why was it still talking? I thought you were going to move me into this body. And she's like, I'm explaining to you that that's not how it works. You're literally copying it. So the decision comes whether you end that one's life, your previous one. But then
that was just you. Do you basically kill yourself?
Yeah. And it just goes into like, but what, like, so this is a copy, but like, then what makes us human? And it's
and so the thing with this copy too, right, is so you have to make the decision.
Mm-hmm.
Do you basically unplug it and kill it?
Yeah.
Or do you just leave it? And what she says is, I've put it to sleep. It's gonna wake up in a few days though. So you're making the decision of leaving it there to wake up on a station alone. It has all the previous memories that you just created in this environment. So it knows that it sat down on that chair and it was supposed to move its memory and take Catherine and move on to the next place. So when it wakes up, it's going to be fully aware of everything that happened, and it's going to quickly realize Catherine's gone. The suit is gone. Yeah. I have been abandoned. Yeah. Someone else, a copy of me, is now continuing on my journey, and I'm stuck here forever. And like going into not going into detail on the WoW, but the WoW is supposed to keep anything human alive.
And that's why
this thing trying to kill itself is going to be nearly impossible if the WoW gets a hold of it. So it could live in this hell alone. Again, there's no people there. There's no nothing there. It could live there forever. So you have to make like this decision. And like I said, as you're going through the story, the build up to this, you see it coming, but you know your character doesn't. And it's just, I don't know, like once, because this is probably about like 10 hours into the game. You've already had to make these hard decisions, and it's just that decision, it breaks you a little bit. And it's so hard to you have to make this moral decision. Do I kill it or do I not? And then that continues.
Yeah. So Markiplier didn't. He said, well, we might have use for him later or whatever it might be, and not knowing that never came to fruition at all.
Yeah.
And you just go on and you basically beat the game within the same day. So you have no idea what that is. What would you have done? What would you have done in that situation then?
I would have ended it. I think the merciful thing is it's not gonna feel the pain of dying. And if you think about when you transferred into that brain, you thought that you were just moving over.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it had that moment of, oh, something didn't work, but that's it. Then it's memory over, life over, because that's what you thought, how you thought it was supposed to work. So it's just kind of like the fact that it would never, it's not like it's going to wake back up and then know oh, and then you killed me. I think it just makes sense that was what you wanted. And that's actually what's argued throughout the game with the people committing suicide after having their brains transferred. It's really, if you think about it, the same idea.
Yes.
But you're making the decision to just end that robot's life and be the single continued living thing. There's a whole thing about people committing suicide after they do it because they want to instantaneously, they figure it, even though it'll take years in their brain, instantaneously they're going to go straight to the Ark. And there's not gonna be two of them. They're not gonna have lived two separate lives. And that scene, it's even these little details, these little stories. It's so just deep, and it makes you really think. So then even at the end, with all of this in mind, the same thing happens.
Yeah.
This guy, he talks about the coin flip.
Yeah.
And he won the coin flip. Yeah. He said, I'm the what is his name?
Simon.
I was like, the Smith. I was like, that's not right. I'm the Simon who won the coin flip. I'm the one that gets to continue living here. I get to go, and we're gonna launch the Ark. We're gonna do everything. We're gonna make it to the Ark. So then at the end of the game, again, spoiler, they succeed in their mission.
And they copied.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Because it's see, this is it's that intense that thinking about this game and living that moment makes me emotional.
Oh, Muffin.
So they launch it into space, And she says again, we're gonna copy our brains into it, and we're gonna be on the ark. And then it's him and Catherine, and God, sorry, he's alone. Like, and then he's mad, and he's angry, and it's like he's like, I explained this to you, Simon. Like, she literally says that, like, I told you. He's like, why aren't we on the ark? And she's like, we are, but it's not us. We lost the coin flip. She's like, we're the ones who have to sit here in this station and suffer the consequences.
And know
and be angry and know that there's someone up there living basically in the equivalent of heaven.
Yeah.
But you weren't the one who made it. And it's just when you're sitting there in that moment and you feel for him. You're like, I get why you're angry.
Yeah.
But it's also like, how can you not understand? We've gone through this scenario 10 times in a game. Like,
I think he understood it to a certain extent, but
he didn't think he was gonna be the one to lose.
And the naive part of it was that he was like, no, this time it'll be different. You know, you're like, I don't want to think about like me being that other Simon. Like, I'm gonna be that one. And so when the game shows that you're still there, and he's just like, what the hell? It like you feel the impact of it, but it's like, but we know as a player what it is. Like, so when real quick, I wanna say. When he transfers himself into the deep sea diving one, if you kill yourself in that, you get a different dialogue when you go down into the abyss.
Yeah.
And in that dialogue, he actually talks about something that I think is really interesting, because you and I we'll say it right now, we're not religious, so, but he does say like what happens to that Simon? What happened to the original Simon? Now that they're dead, are they going to go to heaven? Are there multiple Simons? When that Simon goes to heaven and he sees the other Simon, are they going to be like, you're an imposter? Are you going to be the freaking Spider-Man meme, you know?
Yeah.
But like, it's things like that, right? And it goes back into like what you were also saying as far as like the people who are kind of in that mindset of like, well, if I kill myself here, my other self lives on. The same thing can kind of be argued for like death in reality, where you and I don't believe in an afterlife or anything like that. Once we're done here. But like, let's say like, you know, like for those who do believe in an afterlife, is that just not like a copy of yourself, but like, what if that doesn't happen? What if you don't make it to the ark? What if you don't go to the ark and it's just, you're just the Simon that got transferred or something? I don't know. What I'm trying to get. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, but I think because we don't believe in an afterlife, but
you have these expectations in a way.
And that's what I think what was so hard for him at the end to understand is he had this expectation that he was going to go there and
he was going to live this wonderful life. And like the ark is basically like your own heaven.
Yeah.
Like it's a paradise. It's a computer generated paradise. It's perfect. Yeah. I mean, and it's just, I think what's so hard about that ending is not only like you immediately, like you just are suddenly in just darkness.
Yeah.
And it's like, so not only did you not make it, you now, like, it's an immediate realization that everything's gone. Everyone's gone. I'm alone. It's not even, like, cause it's like through the whole game, you have this hope of, well, if I make it to the ark, I'm going to be among people. I'm going to be among others. And it's like, no, that ark's gone. Catherine shuts down because she's done.
Either that or I think that the whole station just
shuts down. Yeah,
that
so
was
she's
its last leg.
Yes.
So his only friend is
gone. His only companion, like, and you're sitting there in this darkness as he's realizing I'm alone forever. And like I said, like I don't know what he could do as a robot. I don't know if he could eventually shut down and turn off. But there is like not knowing that as a player, you just realize that could be his future forever.
Yeah,
and that makes it even more horrifying.
Because also, if you think about it, and something that Markiplier didn't really put two and two together was the fact that the WoW is trying to keep the whole purpose of the WoW was to keep the last humanity alive. So by him not destroying the WoW, he is now condemning all of those people that are alive to an eternal, like, it's literally hell. If you think about it, it's just, you're alone. The WoW is keeping you alive. Even if you want to die, it's not.
So you come across this a lot in the game, are people who are not even really human anymore, but their physical forms are being kept alive, and you can tell they're conscious, but they are not people anymore. And it goes again into, are they human? These robots seem more human than these physical beings. It's just, like I said, that rewatching it broke me again. It's unbelievable. But yeah, It's like I said, and like I know this game is not new,
Yeah.
which is why it's funny that we're like devoting an entire segment to it. But like I said, it's like that game is like 4 or 5 years old, and rewatching it, the fact that just thinking about this ending, and I think it shows talking about it and getting as emotional as I am, like I think that right there just like lends to how good this game is and how it's impactful. And I don't know. I know it's old, but it's one of those games that I want people to play so bad.
Yeah.
And if you ended up sticking around through this spoiler talk, please, like,
Yeah.
just play it.
Just
Even
play
if
it,
you know
yeah.
this stuff now.
Go make your decisions.
And it'll still impact you, I think. Because, like, it's still watching it, knowing how it was going to end. Still, I still am, like, emotional. It makes me think for days. This game just makes me think hard.
We'll probably keep thinking about it now that we brought it back up again. But
Yeah.
that's all the time we have. We went a little over on this one, but I really want to thank everybody for joining us on Power On Weekly. If you stuck around for the spoiler talk, I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. If you've played Soma, we want to hear what you guys think of this game.
Please.
Yeah, please.
I feel like I don't know anyone I've ever asked has never played it, and it's so underrated. It totally deserves more attention for just it's everything. I don't know. It's funny because we always talk about favorite games, and I kind of forgot about Soma, but I think it's definitely a top 5 for me ever.
No, definitely. Especially rewatching it and having to re-experience those decisions and stuff is just, it's so crazy. And yeah, I mean, it's like $30 on Steam. Like go play it. It's great. And that's all we have the time for this week. And
Because I could talk about this, I could just keep talking.
yeah,
so.
honestly. Let me know in the comments below. Have you played Soma? What are your thoughts on it? And then let us know as well what your thoughts are on the Series S reveal.
Yes.
How you thought that went down. Are you going to get an S or an X? And then what did you think about the Ubisoft Forward? I know our conversation was a little short, but honestly, it wasn't really
How we
impressive.
felt.
Yeah, really
wasn't much to
impressive.
talk about. So.
Yeah. But thanks again for joining us, and we will see you guys next week. Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.